Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making video, and we're doing another batch of last minute cards. We're going to do 5 cards today, and we're going to set it up so that we can do 5 just like this in a different colourway. Okay, so for these cards I've used Parakeet Party, card base and ink for the wreath there, some shaded spruce for the layering and the sentiment, and then I've got some real red there for the little bow there. So no extra embellishments, just trying to get things sort of cut, scored and done as quickly as possible. Okay, so like I say, doing 5 today. Okay, the products today are cottage wreaths. This is a carryover from last year, which I haven't used this year yet, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to bring this out. So we've got the lovely wreath that we can do, the stamped bow, and obviously the coordinating dies. Okay, so that's that. And then for the sentiment banner, we've got the season's greetings from Christmas Classics and the coordinating die out of that set as well. Okay, Christmas Classics is one of the ones which will be retiring with this mini catalogue as well. So if you are enjoying this stamp set, I've made quite a few things with this, then now's the time to get it before it goes entirely. I don't know whether it has already, so worth having a look in the online store to see. Okay, so what I've done in advance is already cut and scored the card bases, which I'm going to do in cherry cobbler. Okay, so we've already got those. Okay, the other thing I've got on hand is a half sheet of basic white, so we'll come to that in a minute when we do the stamping. The other thing I've got here is a full A4 sheet of basic white and sweet sorbet. So that's going to be the contrast colour for this one. But what I thought I would show you is how to get 5 of the what I call mini layers out of the cardstock. Okay, so I just wanted to show you quickly how I cut those, because you can get 5 out of an A4 sheet. So I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer. This is the Stampin Up paper trimmer. It's really fantastic trimmer. Got your metric and imperial markings. You've got an extendable arm, which is really cool. Goes all the way up to 17 inches. So if you did have a larger project, the arm lifts up and grips your paper, and of course you've got the 2 blades there. So the dark blade cuts, the light blade scores. It's a lovely surface to work on, non-slip feet, great, and a little, you can hang it up if you want to. Okay, so hopefully there's not too much glare on there, but hope that you find this useful. So the mini layer is basically an inch shorter and narrower than a usual cardstock layer. So normally I would cut this at 4. Okay, so we're going to pop that back down to 3 there. And we'll just move the score blade out of the way, and we're going to cut at 3. So that's the width that we need. I'm just going to put that to one side, and then usually I would then cut at 5 3/4. Okay, so we're going to pop that down to 4 3/4 and cut. I'm cutting the length. I'm cutting on the short side. Okay, so now I've got 2 full length pieces, but I've got 2 different widths. Okay, I've got a 3 inch and a 4 3/4. Okay, so the 3 inch one will now turn around and cut at 4 3/4. And a reasonable size scrap at the end there. Okay, nice little sentiment, punching, whatever. So there's 2. And then for the one that we did at 4 3/4, we're now going to turn and cut at 3. Okay, so that gets the most out of your cardstock. Okay, so you'll get that extra one. If you do 2 3-inch strips and cut them, you'd only get 4. Okay, so there's 3 from that bit, making a total of 5, and again another decent sized scrap for doing whatever you want to do. Okay, so we can do almost identical thing with the sweet sorbet now, but we're just going to knock it over 1/8 of an inch so that we've got it a little bit bigger. So 3 1/8. And then we're going to pop that over to 4 3/4 plus 1/8 is 4 7/8. And we just get a little skinny strip off there. Need to change my blade. Getting some little fuzzy bits. And then we'll turn that round. Oh, I've done that at 3. Oh dear, 3 1/8. Oh dear. So when you cut it correctly, you'll get 3 out of there. Wally. Make sure I do this one right. 4 7/8. 4 7/8. Okay. So I'm just going to grab a quick scrap. Oh, Wally. Oh, dearie me. So just imagine I did all that correctly, right? Okay. Some live blunders for you. There we go. That's our reel for the the outtakes, if you like. So I've got some decent sized scraps again out of that to do something else with. I'm just going to pop that out of the way. If you do end up with a lot of dander in your trimmer, just use a little brush. The one out of the, if you've got the Embossing Editions kit, the little brush in there helps keep all the little paper fibres out of your trimmer. Okay, and the other little thing that I have in my toolbox is when blades are starting to get a little bit on the blunt side, you might find that you get like these little fluffies around the edge. Okay, and if you just run around the edge with one of these sort of nail block things, then that just knocks all those off. So I shall have to find my blades for a start off. I know I've got some spare somewhere, so find those and then get those get it changed. Okay, so we've got the 5 layers ready to go. Oh, whoops, I can't pick it up off my mat. There we go. So all those little bits can come off, and because we're not doing any more stamping on these or anything, we're going to get those adhered onto those layers. Okay, so we're just going to get this done here and now, and then it's done. Okay, so with any batch making, it's always good to do one step for however many repeats you've got. And then at the end it all comes together nice and quickly, and all of a sudden you've got 5 cards. Okay, so my little trick here is to just turn this on its side. A few little fluffies on there as well, but it's fine. So when I turn it so I can see that short side, it means I can kind of visualise those edges a little bit better. Those 3 corners can be seen very easily, and I can just pop those down. Okay, and Stampin' Seal makes this really quick, and excuse me, and personally I find it far less messy. So there we go. So that's those, and now we can get all of those onto the card base ready, because we're not stamping directly onto these. These are just the frame to get everything done. Okay, so exactly the same. Bit of I almost called it smell then. Seal adhesive. Okay, and pop those on. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop them to one side. Ready for when we need to add all our additional elements. Okay, I'm going to be doing some little gift thingies as well, which I'm sort of in the throes of trying to work out how to do, because it takes me ages to do things that are not cards. To use my brain and everything. Just working out the most efficient way to do that. So I've got loads of bits on my desk at the moment. I hope everybody else is ready for Christmas. I don't feel I'm ready for Christmas in the slightest at all. It just seems to have snuck up on me this year. It's been a very busy year for me, for one reason or another. And yeah, it's just, I can't believe that 2023 is over, pretty much. So there we go, 5 of those are prepped and ready. Okay, so like I say, we'll just pop that to one side, and we'll just bring in this half sheet of basic white. Okay, okay. So we're going to do, I'm just going to demonstrate how we do multiples of these. So on your Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and actually most of the die cut machines, I would say, the cutting plates are approximately 6 inches wide. Okay, so that's about half an A4 sheet. Okay, or just short of it, as that fits on a cutting plate quite nicely. How lovely and battered this cutting plate is, but I keep using it and using it and using it and keep flipping it over until it literally breaks. So that's why I'm using a half sheet of cardstock. If you've only got a mini cut and emboss, all the dies that I'm using will fit through the mini. You just need to cut at 3 rather than at the halfway point. So I've cut these at 5 7/8, that's approximately half. So that's what I have done. So the colours we're going to use for the stamping are Pretty Peacock, Wild Wheat and Cherry Cobbler. So Cherry Cobbler to match the card base, that's what the sentiment's going to go in. We're going to do the bow in the Wild Wheat as a sort of faux gold, and then we're going to go with Pretty Peacock. So we've got a lot rich colour palette, and that's why I went with Pretty Peacock rather than Shaded Spruce. So let's get our wreaths stamped. Okay, so the Cottage Wreaths stamp set is a distinctive photopolymer set, and generally speaking, when you're stamping with the distinctive stamps, you don't want a lot of ink on your stamp. Okay, so the wreath tends to play quite nicely. Just a couple of light taps on the ink pad and it's good to go. So 2 of these will fit. This is the widest image in what we're stamping today. So 2 of those fit nicely across the width of that cardstock. So we're going to be able to basically die cut 1 each of these in one pass. So instead of doing sort of 5 times 3 elements, we're going to do all 3 of them times 5, if you know what I mean. So there's only 5 passes rather than 15. Okay, I'm going to do the sentiment next. I'm going to twizzle this around and we're going to do the sentiment at this end. So we've got this lovely season's greetings that fits into that lovely little banner there. And I'm going to pop that in at the end here. So it's got plenty of room for the die to go round. Okay, and just want to get that cleaned off, just quick, because it's red ink and it does stain, so just bear with me 1 second. Just going to pop that ink pad away as well, because otherwise it will end up everywhere. Okay, so that's our season's greetings. So now we're back to the wild wheat, and we want to stamp this little bow. Okay, so I'm going to bring in one of those little scrap pieces, okay, and just sort of show you that with this stamp, it's a distinctive set, okay, and that's a really wet ink pad, and you don't get a super fantastic image, okay. They just don't play that well with it. So the best thing to do with a distinctive ink pad stamp set is to use a reasonably dry ink pad, but you don't want to be wasting loads of ink, okay. So this is a tip that I picked up off somebody on YouTube. Oh gosh, what's her name? Oh, but I've seen other people do it as well, either with a spoon or something else, but this particular person, oh, what was her name? Used a block. And I'm rubbing very gently with the rounded end of that, just to push some of the ink down in the ink pad, okay, like it would be if it was an older ink pad. And now when we stamp that up, it's going to be hopefully a much better image, okay. So I might need to do that a little bit more. And I did this the other time. Came out beautifully, so it does work. And then obviously you're not wasting loads of ink by trying to blot it off or anything like that, okay. So those have come out better. Let's try one more. Yep, so they're okay. There is a stamp set in the, so that ink will just now you know, even itself back out again, so you don't need to worry about that at all. It doesn't harm your ink pad as long as you don't use anything sharp or scratchy. It's got to be something that's rounded and is not going to damage your ink pad, okay. Right, so just ignore that middle one. So we can now get these through in one pass, right? So we can line up our die. I always look for this little leaf that's like jutting out there. That tends to be the marker. There is an indicator on the stamp and the die as to which orientation it should go in, but you have to pay attention to what you're doing, and I didn't. So we're just going with this. So I've already done this. For the other four, I just needed an extra set, but it gave me an opportunity to show you how to get this done in one pass by cutting down the strip of cardstock. So just looking to get that straight-ish, somewhere around there. Just using some tape to keep it secure, and then we can run that through on the cutting emboss, which is just off camera to my right. And as I say, these all fit through the mini. You just need to use a 3-inch strip rather than a half sheet. Ooh, it's all moved around. Okay. On. That's come out, which is great. And then I do find sometimes the paper just sort of sticks I think the tape I use just sort of makes it cling on a little bit. So we'll just grab our die cuts out of there, and we'll clear up that later. Okay, so I'm going to flip these over. We need some dimensionals. Excuse me. Bless me. Ooh. Bless me. So 3 dimensionals onto the wreath. I've already got the others there. I'm going to pop a mini at each end on the little banner there, and I've already got the others ready to go there. And our bow's going to go on with some dimensionals, but we need to just shape them first, give them the nice little curve to make them look nice and 3D. Okay, so I'm just going to use this tool, any rounded tool. You can use your bone folder, you can use the handle on a pair of scissors, you can use whatever you like, but I just so happen to have this large ball tool that does the job, and I find the squishy bit of my hand here is perfect. You can use one of those foam mats, mouse pad, back of your catalogue, whatever you want. Okay, so once you've got the little cupped kind of bow there, if you then bend it in the middle, okay, you've got that little piece to use to adhere that to. Okay, alright, so that's going to be ready to go as well. So just get those bent and ready. As I try and do all your steps. Okay, right, let's start putting things together then. Just thinking it's probably easier for me to have these folded like that because of my desk and keeping them in shot. Okay, so let's get all these doing. Okay, so if you press your nail into the back of the dimensionals, it lifts up that corner a little bit, which helps you get the backings off if you have trouble with those. Some people like to use their little take your pick tool and stuff like that, so that's going to pop on there, somewhere there. Okay, we're going to have a dab of glue on that little fold there, and we're going to pop our bow on wherever you want that, and then we're going to use the banner at the bottom there, and those dimensionals are just going to span across that card, kind of wherever you want. Try and get it straight, somewhere there. One. We rinse and repeat, and before we know it we're going to have 5 cards ready. Oops, dimensionals going everywhere. So you don't need to be super fussy about how your wreath sits. It isn't symmetrical, just put it on there. Okay, there's 2. Obviously those bows are going to be, they've got wet glue on them, so just be careful you don't squish them before they're dry. This is probably the thing that takes the longest time, but if you wanted to just use stamp and seal, obviously you wouldn't need to mess about with backing papers and things like that, so you could keep this completely flat which again could save some time for you. Okay. There's 3. Doesn't take long to dry though. The multi-purpose glue. It's really, really good stuff. It's really strong as well. You don't need loads of it. Okay. Yep, I'm going to put a blob on that one and that one because it won't take a minute, and then we can put the glue away. Press down though. Okay, and you could the other thing you could do is actually kind of get all your dimensionals off as well, you know, your packing papers off I should say. Just another step that you can do, or enlist a small person to do it for you, or whoever. I don't think the cat would be very useful, but someone with thumbs, you can get that done for you. Saves you loads of time. And you know, some of this stuff, you know, it can be done in front of the telly or whatever, so once you've got all the pieces cut and everything, they come together really, really quickly. And that's it, that's number 5. So for this darker card you might want to put an insert in as well, but again that's just cutting, you know, your inner layers. If you wanted to do the mini layers, then you can get 5 out of 1 sheet of cardstock, which again, you know, would probably be the most efficient. Get the same measurements and everything. So there we go, even 5 of those. That goes with 5 of those, and I've got 10 cards to do. Love this colourway, by the way. I really like it. The cherry cobbler and the pretty peacock having those richer colours. I think that looks really, really cool. Of course, you could totally add some bling to this, but I say the focus today was to try and make these quickly without too much fuss. So obviously, you know, if you want to add more to these, then please go ahead and do so. Alright, so there we go, 5 cards reasonably quickly. I hope that's been useful, and I hope you're getting there with your Christmas. I'm trying to think what the date is. So the next video will be after Christmas, I think. So if I don't see you before, have a lovely, lovely Christmas, everybody. Thanks ever so much for your support this year to the channel, and all the lovely comments on my projects. So I really do appreciate it. It does make me really happy to know that people are watching and they're enjoying what I'm doing. Okay, fantastic. See you all the other side of Christmas. Okay, take care, stay safe and enjoy yourselves. Bye.